Hello everyone, welcome to the Watch Poplars. Hello everyone, welcome to the Watch Poplars. Today, I'm going to be showing you the plum forest. And I have my plum forest right here. It is actually starting to leaf out, you can see. Those leaves are coming out. And this is a green plum, but this one and this one are purple plums, as well as this one. This one just, I think this branch turned purple because, and also look at my hand. Yeah, that's more watch poplar themed. The aspen eyes, where the branches die off and form this collar, like there. But here, I defoliated this branch, the tip of this branch, because the leaves were very crinkly and damaged. And so maybe the sun kind of tanned them. But yeah, you can see spring has arrived in my plum forest. And this is not because I keep it warm. I keep it outside, exposed to the frost. And I didn't expect it to leaf out this early, but last year it leafed out in late January, and I think last winter was actually colder than this winter. We've been having some above average temperature. I mean, yesterday we were 1 degree above normal, which is fine, 58 degrees during the day, but you know, we once had a little spike of like 67 degrees. That's not good. Not good. La Nina. I hate it. But yeah, I'm going to talk about plum trees, just like I did on September 1st, last year. So now, come here. Also, it is not quite winter. And I'll tell you why. You can see the alders are flowering with their catkins. They do that normally at this time of year in January. Oh my. Look at this. What is that? It's squishy. It's very squishy and it's soft. It's a fungus of some kind. You can see the willows, that one. It might be either a red willow or a crack willow, but it has leaves on, still has fall colors. There's an evergreen variety of ash here, and I don't know what kind of ash it is, but it is semi-evergreen, and it breaks dormancy quite early. So now here, there are buckeye seedlings on the ground. There's one somewhere over here. Now the seedlings, they leaf out very early. I don't see any buckeye seedlings anywhere here. This fucking English ivy, I hate it. It does not belong here. Who thought that this English ivy would be a nice plant to have as a landscape plant? This sucks, and it smells horrible when it's flowering. Like, lewd horrible. It's just so bad. Well, anyway, I've got my plum forest. Apparently one of the fences broke off, or just fell off. There is a golf ball here, and I need to throw that. So I will. Now, here is a great way to tell whether it is actually winter or just not quite winter. So here, there is a native, I believe it's native, a native twinberry honeysuckle. Now, can I focus? Let's see. Yes, I can. So, there is, well, I need to put this down. So here, you got spring arriving and autumn ending at the same time. And even at the same node. You got last year's leaves and this year's leaves coming out at the same time. Look at this. Lonicera. Or lonicera. However you want to pronounce it. But this type of honeysuckle is the earliest tree or shrub to flower and break dormancy earlier than our buckeyes. If this is native, then this is the determining plant for when spring arrives. And that kind of willow determines when autumn ends. These are native willows. I don't know any. Oh, the cattails are ripe. Oh, that's nice. You got the salix pacifica right here. That has its leaves on. They're native. They have adjusted to this climate. They do this every time. They keep their leaves. They get late fall colors, and they break dormancy quite early. The laurels are blooming. The bay laurels. Lauraceae, same family as avocados, and you can see 6 petals. It looks like they have little miniature. What are those? Weird stamens. They have these flat and broad stamens. Look at that. And then I don't know what those little yellow things are in the middle, at the very base of the flower. But you know, it actually kind of looks like a magnolia flower. But it's not a magnolia. It is a bay laurel. I don't know the full scientific name of that, but they flower at the tip. Almost at the tip. But they have nice little yellow flowers. They make nice bonsai. They miniaturize quite nicely. They smell lovely. Doesn't it sound like spring? Oh, I found it. The aesculus californica. It feels very soft. Why does it feel like it's rotting right here? It's very, very flexible. I don't think this is okay. Let me see. The bud is squishy and firm as usual. I mean, it's still in between its hard winter phase and its spring squishiness and stickiness, I guess. Or maybe the stickiness has rubbed off. I don't know. But why is it so soft and flexible here? Is it just a flexible seedling? I don't know them as flexible trees. They're quite coarse. Look at this growth. Very coarse growth. Now down here, I've seen alder seedlings sprouting up. Just showing their very first 2 leaves. I forgot what that's called. It's somewhere in my mind, but I just don't. I don't have it in the front of my mind to remember it. And now is that a fungus? I've been smelling rotting animals, like just rotten flesh around here. I don't know where it's from, but you can see the buds on the buckeyes are they're getting large. And there's one here. Genetically different. Oh, I thought that was a buckeye leafing out already. But this one is leafing out next to the toxicodendron diversilobum. I'll show you that. But this is California buckeye. You can see very, very iconic bracts. It was a golf ball. But here, this is what they look like when they just start to leaf out. Is that another one? Gosh. They need to put a fence here. I don't want to have to keep throwing them back over there, but I will until they put a fence there. But anyway, here, you can see, I'm not going to disturb this, but I might with these, so, because these ones are actually already coming out. You could see those the compound leaves. They're very fragile and tender. Very, very detailed and veinated veins. And you can see it. You could really see it from a distance with that contrast. You just got these upward bright green buds pointing up. Now I will talk briefly about toxicodendron diversilobum. This is how you can tell that it is a poison oak. You got a curved bud. They all have that. They all have it as a little curve to it. And this is this year's growth. You can see there's a node there. And a node there. Here. They get longer. They sprout little branches on the current year's growth. Here. So this year's growth started right here. And then it went up. They have like this staggered growth kind of randomly around the stem in a whorl form alternate leaf arrangement. And they grow very upward. But they never get very tall. They can grow. This is quite a young plant actually. But they spread by rhizomes, by runners. You can see there's a horizontal branch, kind of arches like that. There's one. You can see there's a horizontal one right there. They spread by runners. And the roots, if that's not English ivy going like that, then that is the roots. So they can get quite broad and take over a lot of area, but they always have this sweeping structure. And they don't grow very tall, but they get a lot of dense ramification because they produce little tiny branches. Wow. Like before the year has ended, I found an alder seedling. You can see the two leaf halves. And then emerging from those leaves is the very detailed, heavily textured leaf. But they are not coming out quite yet enough for me to see what is going on. But today, I want to talk about Prunus americana. This is a very nice tree. And I have my Prunus americana forest here, the American plum. And let's see. These are dead branches. They die back quite a bit. But yeah, during the video in September, I showed you the whole forest. The old tree here, they don't grow very tall. This branch, this trunk was probably quite a bit taller. Maybe it was probably like 20 feet tall. It looks to be about 20 feet tall, maybe almost 20 feet tall. But yeah, they have nice little branch pads. You can see there's a nice branch pad here, but I think this one has died. It got old and weak, and now the energy is in here. This is alive. Let's see. Flower buds, they're not active yet. I think in bonsai, not just in general, but like physically in bonsai, they tend to leaf out earlier. That could be because they are protected on your benches from like the higher trees around you, or it's because when the sunlight hits the pot, it warms up and there's less soil there. So there's almost no sunlight actually reaching the soil here. That's probably thanks to the English ivy, which I hate. But, you know, anyway, that bud might be coming out early someday. Maybe in a few weeks. But here, there's a nice branch pad here, a pad there. They're not very distinct pads, but there's one there. They grow in an arching broom style, kind of like a clump style. Low, they're small trees. They grow a lot of suckers, and they're very nice for bonsai because you can get a lot of growth on them. I think I might have shown you this in 2 videos. So, you got, there's this shoot here. It started growing here. Here. Well, it's actually a much older tree. It's probably 20 years old, almost. That one's probably 40, 50, that's 50, 60, maybe 70 years old. That's a 70-year-old tree. This is 30, maybe? No. This is probably almost 20 years old. I can't tell. But you can see the long extensions that I showed you on September 1st. That is over 1 meter long. These two are from 2 years ago. They grew that much, and then this year's growth is like kind of coming off to the side. But yeah, they're very fast growing trees. You can get lots of thickness to them, such as on this year's growth. That's quite nice. You got these nodes that haven't activated yet, and yeah, I love this structure. And I think in any method of bonsai, you can do that and make it look natural. As I lean over this tree, you can see there's others here in front of these office buildings. I dear hope that these do not get cut down. I'd be mad if they will, because they make nice, they add something to look at on your balcony. And you could probably pick the fruit from these trees in like July when you got these fruits. They're very delicious. I've had many. And they're, you know, the nice fall colors and flowers. Very, very beautiful trees. They're very seasonal. They're one of the most seasonal trees we have here, and they're native. But yeah, and they get nice bark too. It's like a stupid English ivy. I hate it. It needs to die. We need to create a disease that kills English ivy. That's probably gonna work out very horribly because it's probably something's gonna go wrong, and it's going to end up wiping out a different species of plant that we did not want to wipe out. But I gotta go here and clear out the English ivy from around the trees. I can't clear all of it, unfortunately. If I could, I would snap my fingers and it would work. But it doesn't. That's not how the world works, unfortunately. And I gotta live up. I don't know. No. I need to just go with it. Slowly remove it at a time. One little section. You can see here, now in bonsai, they wouldn't grow like this. You wouldn't be able to grow it so tightly packed with growth. But you would be able to, you know, like these thickest ones. The thickest ones here, the one that goes like that, that's unfortunately covered in English ivy. The one going here, one going there, just like 3 kind of going out like that. Yeah, you could mimic that, and then you could also probably put into a smaller scale the branches that sprout upward, perpendicular to those branches, like this. You can see how they grow. A branch gets old, and then with just age, the lower part of this branch is probably dead. Yeah, it's dead. But then you get that a transition of energy and strength. And so the further back you got these buds that activate and start growing upward, and eventually those branches will also start to droop as they get. I think the drooping habit is probably because they're a fruiting tree, and they do that because they get weighed down by the fruit. They get very heavy. If you look at a time lapse, like over the course of a year, you will see these trees leaf out, or they'll flower in February to March, and they'll grow, and until May, then they'll start to droop again. You know, like the branches will slowly, they'll droop a little bit. They'll start to go like that when they flower and leaf out, and then they'll stay like that. Maybe just kind of as the growth slows, they'll slowly kind of stop, but then they'll start drooping again as the fruit get bigger. The fruit form, they grow, and then they'll be really drooping down like that. And when they all fall off, they'll spring back up. But there's always some kind of influence from that weight, so they'll always stay a little bit drooped. It adds a lot of weight. If you take an entire tree like this at full growth, and let's say you send us back a few years or during its glory days before this whole branch died, but it's still alive. Anyway, it would have probably like it would weigh. I don't think it would weigh a ton, but like you could think how much water are in those plums. They're very juicy, and so there's lots of water in those plums, and all that water is just, it makes them droop, and it molds them into that position a little bit. And so I think that's why you get this weird arching structure. I don't know, weird, but it's a lot of fruit trees do it. Apples, pears, plums, apricots, all stone fruit. I think citrus fruit do it too. Hawthorns do it. Cretaceous, you got Cretaceous, Malus, Prunus, Pyrus, which is the hawthorns, plums, apples, and pears. And yeah, so I hope when I get enough branches and they start to kind of go a bit more horizontal. This branch is going a bit too horizontal for this time of development. I don't want many horizontal branches yet, but when they do, I might kind of tie something to them, and you can see how that looks. That's quite effective. You know, the entire shape of the tree changes by just experimenting and testing their abilities. You can see they're very flexible, so you could wire them, but I don't want to wire these. I don't want wire scars. Now, even though Mirai does it very well. I mean, Ryan probably knows what he's doing, but and anyway. That was a nice rock. It's a rock. It's not mud. Yeah, it's rock. But you can see there's lots of potential with this forest. I think next year, well, because it's leafing out, I'm going to repot this forest this weekend, or I don't know. I need to find a time to do it because it's breaking dormancy, and there's a bonsai show this weekend, and it's probably going to have a lot of cool trees, and I want to show you that. So I need to find a time to repot my plum tree, and I think I have to do it this weekend because the tree is telling me it's leafing out, it's spring, and and if I repot it too late, then the leaves, it's not going to grow very well. That's why I don't repot my trees during summer, unless it's a tropical tree. The tropical trees were designed to always be exposed to warm temperatures, but these need a cool period in order to spring back into life and to flower. So I think I've kind of explained quite nicely. There's like basically like how they grow, the the mechanics of flowering tree growth. But there's also this one here. This is also an arching structure. I'm going to try to show you a good view. That's nice. So here, you got that trunk. Usually, plum trees, they don't always come out of the ground perfectly vertical. They're always, a mature plum tree always has a slanting trunk and a slanting main stem that arches that like that. But then you got this regeneration. As that branch gets weak, it's dead right here. That's a dead section, I think. I can see that the weird morphing of the branches, sorry about my hand, the weird morphing of the branches, it's all curved and curled. But that's dead, but here, it's alive. And it regenerates from the trunk, and it just centers itself. It creates a new center of balance. And so now you have a branch going like that. You could see it. It's bold. It's a bold branch right in the middle. It goes up to the top. This is pink flowers. It is not a green flowering. No, what? Sorry. It is not a green-leafed plum. It is a purple plum. I think it's prunus or something like that. But it actually, I think it's prunus americana. It's just like there's a ton of prunus americana that come in different colors. I've seen brown leaf varieties that are kind of brownish. I've seen ones that are just they have this weird green color. It's somewhere between green and brown. I've seen them when they're kind of reddish colored, and then there's the kind of like the purple kind. Now the very dark burgundy leafed plum trees, those were genetically bred to look like that. It was a genetic trait that we put on those plum trees to make them purple. I mean, it just looks synthetic. Well, not this tree, but actually not synthetic. Just like genetically modified plum trees. There's 3 growing. You might have seen in the videos where I'm walking along the street. There are 3 plum trees over there that do not get any fall colors because they have burgundy leaves. Just perfect burgundy leaves the entire year. And I don't find that aesthetically pleasing. I like seasons. I like seeing fall colors and bright spring colors and flowers. Oh, you got last year's flowers on the honeysuckle, twinberry honeysuckle, lonicera something. Where are the seeds? I don't need any more, but I don't know. Anyway, but yeah, you got that nice structure. So, I'm going to actually keep this right here into this for you. And for any of you guys who are interested in growing plum trees as bonsai, I'm going to keep this here for like about 5 seconds or 10 seconds to show you how they look like, so you can take a screenshot of this tree and maybe use it as inspiration. So now I'm going to end the video. Well, there is something. The dogwoods, well, tomorrow is the middle of the month. But it's a Wednesday, and I can't do the entire walk in the evening. But I'm very certain I will show you the rest. On next weekend, Saturday. But this whole time I was trying to show you the dogwood. I'll show you anyway. It's very sketchy here. During the past floods, a bit of the creek and the bushes that held the soil in here, it washed away. So now this path is it's shrinking. This deer trail that I've been using, you know, I want to show you the dogwood. So you see Cornus alba, I think. Red osier dogwood. I don't know why. I've seen pictures of Cornus alba, and it looks exactly like this. But I'll have to do some research. What is the scientific name of red osier dogwood? Why is it called red osier dogwood? I keep thinking, well, I don't know. I keep thinking of dogs. Obviously. Little dogs. I don't know. Calico dogs, whatever. But I was just curious to see if they're breaking dormancy already, but I don't know. I don't see them breaking dormancy yet. Except there. Here. This is the first shoot. And it's the most developed. Cornus alba. No! I'm wrong! It's alnus rhombifolia. Sorry about that. The white alder. It just looks reddish right here. But no, it's connected to this 2-year-old or whatever, 3-year-old sapling that grew. Let me see. There's a nice junction. You know, alder shoots, they start out with 1 liter, but once they get vigorous enough, then they start branching out and skyrocketing. This is where it started growing this year. Last year it grew, oh wow, to here. So I'm gonna assume this is 3 years old. It's a 3-year-old sapling, and it's taller than me. They love the water. There's a willow cutting. I'm gonna show you all of this at the creek. I'm gonna show you this weekend on Saturday. All of this, but I just want to quickly show you. The buds on the willows are swelling, so it's a good time to repot your willow if you live in zone 10 to 8. Because the buds are swelling. They were not this big. In autumn, they were this big. And yeah. I'm excited to see how this cutting that just fell here and rooted, how it develops in the future and just how it survives. But it's late, and I need to go home. And soon, it'll be late enough that I'll probably get a text from my mom or dad that says, "Where are you?" You know, that is lovely. I'm very interested in lonicera. Ugh. Wait a second. So I know what. So two, or twin, is bi in Latin, I believe. Berry or fruit is carpus in Latin. So it would be called lonicera bicarpus or something. If it is not named after someone's last name from like the 1800s or something, it would be called something like that. Lonicera bicarpus. Or a duocarpus or something. I don't know. I am not Latin, and my phone, my flashlight just turned on. Why? Whenever I unpause the footage, it turns the flashlight on. That is strange. This has never happened before. It has never happened before. And sorry, I probably cut myself off. Cheers to you from the watch poplars. That is all for today. And I will see you next time.